Welcome to Just Ask George. I'm David Wolf, affiliate banker with BH Capital. I'm here with the founder and president of BH Capital, George Lovato Jr. George, welcome back.
Dave, and you're also producer.
And I'm also producer.
You're multi-talented. You're not telling the world that this is one of the most talented guys. He understands finance and AV.
Well, it's a very strange combination. Of course, we're directed by Steve Garth Incorporated, who is our the little bird on our shoulder to make sure everything goes okay. So thanks to you, Steve.
We didn't see Steve in the other segments. Where did he go?
I don't know. He may be we'll behind the green screen.
All right.
So this segment we entitled it "Is There Any Money Out There?" Is there money out there? Brought to you by the Opportunity Engine, which can be found. Well, we should talk a little bit about what that is. It can be found at www.opportunityengineinc.com. What is the Opportunity Engine?
The Opportunity Engine was born out of the need for internet marketing for BH Capital and to sell more books and all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
and along the way, Steve and I and a host of other people around the world developed this business-to-business solution that reaches out and delivers your message via the internet in a very unique way without it having it be spam or intrusive or pop-ups or anything else. It's very, very unique. And BH Capital uses it on a regular basis to punch its blog out to over 380,000 active readers right now.
That's awesome.
And so the Opportunity Engine is responsible for building that audience, and of course is going to be partially responsible for building this continued audience, because now we've made the big transition from just podcasting and audio to going to audio video, because people want to see what
they want to
we
see
all
our
look
puttums.
like.
We know that it's all about how we look.
They want to see our puttums while we're potting.
But thank you, and enough about us. But really, there's something else about the Opportunity Engine. There's a filtering iteration process that you use for cleaning the list, isn't there? That's unique.
Right. The more people view you, essentially, the more active they become in terms of connecting to your content, your dialogue. And the people that aren't as interested will fall off, and obviously those people go away. The Opportunity Engine just basically filters out that static. So you really drill down to a very, very coherent, very interested, very relevant audience, and that's what that 380,000 plus does.
Excellent.
They want to know something about something, and so they stay connected. Now we've added a new component in social media by adding Michael Mast, who is connecting this program as well as the obstacle course in BH Capital via a very active social media program, very dynamic approach to it. So along with that, with the Opportunity Engine, it's really sort of a double-barrel shotgun.
It's a tandem effort, absolutely. So that's OpportunityEngineInc.com for more information if you've got a business that can use this kind of service around email marketing. One of the questions we get asked as bankers is the thing that comes up so often is, I went down to my community bank and I can't get a loan. Okay, that's the most basic form of, is there any money out there? What's your perspective on the availability of capital? You're involved with forming capital for all size enterprises. What should the business owner know about the availability of money?
The first thing is the hearing of the word no from your banker is not the end of the world. There are so many dynamic changes within the commercial banking industry. The amount of output that the banks are realizing right now, that the business owners are realizing from the banks, is very limited, because banks have the ability now to choose more than ever the finer deals, the better deals. They can cherry pick and only finance those deals in which they have this ultimate 6-inch thick comfort level with the blanket, if you will.
Yeah.
And as a result, maybe the deal that they would have done 5 years ago isn't really top of mind. It isn't on the radar screen. The question
I'm sorry, I want to interject. Is it a function of size? Does size matter?
Does size matter? Not really.
No,
not really.
So
I always say it's easier to you put just as much work into a $500,000 transaction as you do a $50 million transaction,
right.
And that's okay.
Okay.
But when we're talking about, is there money out there? There is money out there. It's just not at your banker's desk. He's not going to close that deal he would have maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Insurance companies, managed investment funds, SBICs, the old charters, that old model. There are some of those dollars available. There's more of the private lender, i.e. the semi-regulated lender, the institution that's licensed within a state but is not a depository institution.
Is that a merchant bank?
There are a few merchant banks like BH Capital, but there are factoring lenders, there are equipment lenders, there's leasing companies, there's money there. A lot of those institutions, a lot of those smaller companies, those lenders, those leasing companies, have run into their own problems where their bank was the resource for their warehouse line, and so they're now in a transition going out to the managed investment fund, or they're raising their money with private dollars or maybe even institutional dollars in a bond setting, in a bond format or structure.
Okay.
And so there are solutions for those companies. So is there money? Yes, there's money. There's the rules to get it have changed quite a bit.
That's huge.
You can't come to the marketplace and say, I need a loan. You have to be prepared when you go to the marketplace. You may have to have a valuation, a need and necessity, a feasibility study, also an appraisal. You may have to have all those things, really good financial statements with great footnoting, all of those tools to be condensed together into an underwriting presentation so that the lender understands your business.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
But the new point of contact, is this an opportunity for, companies like yours, BH Capital, because would you consider this as an alternative to the bank down the street? How do you think about, let's take BH Capital. There's an opportunity here that's emerged that's different than maybe when banks were more liquid. No?
Yeah.
That's a question.
I
don't think of it that way.
Very early on in my career, I had to rely on banks. And as we know, if you've read the book, The Obstacle Course, then you'll know my bad experiences with banks. And so I try to stay away from them from the perspective of being dependent on them. Okay. And I really try to educate the entrepreneur to do that as well. So there is another marketplace out there, and the rules in getting to that marketplace, you have to be prepared. Hence, you're going to have to spend money. You're going to have to pay your accountant. You're going to have to pay your lawyer. You're going to have to pay for all these third-party studies and opinions. And if you don't have that, don't pick up the phone and expect some guy to lend you just on an idea. I mean, that's just, those days are gone.
Right.
That went out with bell-bottom pants.
Okay, so
let's just put that aside. Okay. If you don't have the money to form the capital, if you don't have the money to pay the professionals to put the underwriting together, don't bother anybody, because nobody's going to put the money in your hand.
It's not going to happen. So there is money out there. The theme is you need to be extra prepared. The entrepreneur needs to be more prepared than ever and be prepared to really fund the formation of capital.
Exactly.
In a way that they didn't have to before.
It's part of the cost of capital. Now, let me raise one point here, which is really unusual. I always like saying it. When I'm hired by a client, anything that they pay me is not an expense. Those dollars are capitalized and put on their balance sheet. So I'm an asset, not an expense.
I love that.
Don't you love that?
I know.
It's
not
goes,
the way we tend to think of it.
Yeah, the same goes with all those other expenses, the feasibility study, the cost of accounting, the legal fees, everything associated with forming that capital is now capitalized. So guess what? It boosts your balance sheet.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and people don't get that. They think automatically, I've got to write all these checks, and it's going to drain me, and it's going to eat up my resources.
It's not a marketing expense.
And exactly. And as a result, it just sort of dies on the vine, and they say that's ridiculous. Me pointing at me. I'll pay you when you're done. No, because you're in control of the transaction from start to finish. Why am I going to take 100% risk?
Right.
And I'm not a broker, I'm a banker.
Exactly.
So why is your lawyer going to take that risk? Why is your accountant going to take that risk? Right. Why are the people that are going to put the feasibility or the need necessity study together going to work on the come? Because our services all have value. You have to pay for it as it's being delivered. There's another issue, too, in that entrepreneur must know that there is a cost to capital. So it's not only the interest rate, it's everything that it takes to create it.
Okay, excellent. George Lovato, Jr., president of BH Capital. I'm David Wolf, affiliate banker with BH Capital. Of course, this segment is Just Ask George. Is there money out there? Brought to you by the Opportunity Engine, and you can find the Opportunity Engine at OpportunityEngineInc.com, just like it sounds, right?
Opportunity, and isn't that a great name?
Unbelievable. George, you're just flowing with information about so many things. This is a fascinating segment. We want to hear from you. Where can folks, if they see this segment or hear it, where can they contact you?
They can go to www.justaskgeorgeradio.com. They can contact us there. They can go to bhcapitalltd.com, and they can contact us through the website. And also the obstaclecoursebooks.com, and of course the OpportunityEngineInc.com.
A lot of points of contact. George, thanks again. We'll see you next time on Just Ask George.
Thanks for joining us.